India's first lichen park. So there is a lichen park being set up in India for the first time. This is being set up in the state of Uttarakhand. It's being set up in the state of Uttarakhand in the district of Mansiari, right? In a place called Mansiari, Munsiayari, Munsiayari, Mansiari in Uttarakhand, right? Uttarakhand Forest Department is setting up this lichen park, and this is India's first lichen park, right? So that's why we have to know it. So this park is being set up with an objective of conservation of lichens and to spread awareness. This is the objective, conservation of lichens and to spread awareness, right? So what are these lichens? You might have seen these lichens, or you might have known about these lichens before. These are basically a kind of algae, right? They belong to algae family, cyanobacteria. They belong to cyanobacteria family, right? So this much we have to know at least about lichens, that they belong to algae or cyanobacteria family, right? And where do these lichens live? Usually we can find these lichens on the rocks, right? These are usually found on the rocks. And in India, they are also known as patthar ke phool, right? Patthar means stone, patthar ke phool. So they are also known as patthar ke phool in India. These usually live in symbiotic relationship with fungi. This also we have to know. Fungi will be having filaments, guys. Just see this diagram later in the net, right? So fungi will be having filaments. So along with those filaments, these lichen also will be living, right? A symbiotic relationship is there between lichen and the filaments of fungi. What is symbiotic relationship? Symbiosis means one for one, right? One organism will be helping the other organism will also be helping this organism. In this way, both will be benefiting and they will be surviving, right? So this is called symbiosis. So these lichens have a symbiotic relationship with filaments of fungi. So these are some facts about lichen. And what are the uses of lichen? Now, why are we trying to conserve the lichen? Because they have some uses. Firstly, they can be used for separating minerals from rocks. Lichens have the capability to separate some minerals from rocks. That is one of the use of lichen. And lichen are also consumed as a part of cuisines, right? Cuisines, cuisines, right? Lichen is also consumed, and perfumes are also made of lichen. That is also one of the use. And sunscreens are also made of lichen. And other important use of this lichen is they act like bioindicators. They act like bioindicators. What are the meaning of bioindicators? Bioindicators means wherever this particular species is living, it will give a report card of the environment there. If at all there are any excessive pollutants or chemicals in a particular place, some features of the species will change. In that way, they will indicate that the environment is in trouble, right? That's why they are called bioindicators, right? So these lichen species, they are sensitive to pollutants and chemicals. They are sensitive to pollutants and chemicals. That's why if any of the concentrations of NOx, SOx or any other particulate matter increases, so this lichen will be responding to that. And from that, we can get an estimate, a rough estimate that something is not good in the environment. So that's why they act as bioindicators, right? So there can be a question saying, what are indicator species related to? Indicator species means, as the name itself suggests, they indicate the state of environment where they are living. Similarly, we have keystone species. Just find about them, guys. Similarly, we have umbrella species in environment. Find out about this term also, umbrella species, keystone species. Similarly, these are indicator species. So this is about lichens. In Uttarakhand, it's being set up India's first lichen park Munsiari place of Uttarakhand. Uttarakhand Forest Department is setting this up with an objective of conservation of lichens and also to spread awareness about lichen. These belong to algae or cyanobacteria family. They live in symbiotic relationship with fungi, right? And they're usually found on rocks. That's why they are called patthar ke phool. And some of the uses and important use we have to remember is they are bioindicators, right? This is something about lichens. Now, one sun, one world, one grid. This statement was given by our Prime Minister in the year 2018, right? In the first conference of International Solar Alliance. In the first General Assembly of this International Solar Alliance, our Prime Minister in the year 2018 gave this statement, one sun, one world, one grid, right? What is the meaning of this one sun, one world, one grid? It has a vision of creating a global grid for renewable energies, right? Right now we have grid. A grid means something which is used for storage and transmission of power. So now power can be generated from renewables and non-renewables also. So the storage and transmission infrastructure as of now for renewable energy, we have interstate and intrastate, right? So within the country only we were working, but with this statement of Prime Minister, a broader vision was taken up where they are saying not only within the states of the country, but within between country and country also, renewable energy storage and transmission infrastructure should be there. Global grid, a global grid of renewable energies has to be set up. That is the vision of one sun, one world, one grid, right? And to explain the vision further, it's about creating global ecosystem of interconnected renewable energy resources, right? Global ecosystem of interconnected renewable energy resources. That means India has some X amount of renewable energy projects. Bangladesh also has, right? Sri Lanka also has, China also has. In this way, various other countries also have. So we are trying to construct a global grid of renewable energies. This is called one sun, one world, one grid. Global ecosystem of interconnected renewable energies. Now this grid was broadly divided into two zones. This grid is broadly divided into two zones, Far East and Far West. One zone is Far East, the other zone is Far West. What is Far East? Far East zone consists of all the Southeast Asian nations like Myanmar, Vietnam, Laos, Cambodia, all these countries. The Far West region consists of Middle East and African region. Middle East means the West Asia part and the African region. So this is in the Far West. So the global grid which India is planning to prepare is broadly divided into two zones, Far East and Far West. So in this way, overall, our country wants to connect Middle East, Africa, South Asia and Southeast Asia. All these four regions, Middle East means the West Asia part, African part, African region, South Asia, that means Bangladesh, Pakistan, Afghanistan, India, all these countries, and Southeast Asia also, right? Myanmar, Vietnam and all those countries. So all these four regions will be integrated and a global grid will be prepared. That is the plan. And International Solar Alliance is one topic which it's better if we revise it once again. So go through the notes and try to get out any useful points or important points. Additional points, or if they are there, just add them up. So ISA headquarters is in Gurugram, India, right? This is something we have to know, right? International Solar Alliance, it's completely an initiative of India, right? When was it declared by our Prime Minister? It was declared or launched by our Prime Minister in one of the COP summit. We have discussed COP 25, right? Similarly, in one of the COP summit, Prime Minister has launched this. Just find out which the COP summit is, and also other country also with other country together we have launched this. In one particular COP summit, India launched this initiative with another country collaboration. Just find out what that country is and what that COP is. And the headquarters is in Gurugram. This is something we have to know, right? Gurugram, not New Delhi, right? It's in Gurugram. So these are some points. One sun, one world, one grid. Right? This was the statement of our Prime Minister. And this has a vision of creating global ecosystem of interconnected renewable energy, global grid of renewable energy. 2 zones we have discussed, and what regions they are trying to integrate also we have seen, and International Solar Alliance, right? These are some points. And this was in the news because as a part of this one sun, one world, one grid, the Ministry of New and Renewable Energy has prepared a draft plan. Ministry of New and Renewable Energy has prepared a draft plan for this one sun, one world, one grid project, right? So that's why it's important for us. So regarding renewable energy projects, we have 2 ministries that are dealing. One is Ministry of New and Renewable Energy. The other is Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, right? So we have to be careful here when we are solving the prelims questions. I flows and C flows. IFLOWS. I flows and C flows. CFLOWS. These were also in the news in the recent months. So first we'll take up what is C flows. CFLOWS. What is the C flows? So C flows full form is Coastal Flood Warning System. Right? Coastal Flood Warning System. So an app was created basically for this sea flows. On the name of this sea flows, Coastal Flood Warning System, an app was created. Now, this is the full form, and this was launched by National Institute of Ocean Technology in Chennai. NIOT, National Institute of Ocean Technology in Chennai. Right? This is an overall initiative of Ministry of Earth Sciences. Ministry of Earth Sciences. So this was launched by NIOT, Ministry of Earth Sciences. What is this for? This is for effective flood mitigation. Right? This is for effective flood mitigation. And what is something special about this sea flows? Right? If we see the present scenario, we have IMD, right? Indian Meteorological Department, which gives weather forecasts. Similarly, we have INCOIS. There is another body called INCOIS, right? Indian National Center for Ocean Informatics Services. Ocean Informatics Services. This tells about ocean-related phenomena. If any cyclones are coming, or how are the monsoon winds coming, all this information will be given by INCOIS. IMD will be telling the weather forecast, in how many days the rain will be coming, with how much intensity they will be coming, right? Similarly, we have another organization called NCMRWF. NCMRWF. All the 3 bodies which I have told now, all these 3 come under Ministry of Earth Sciences only. But previously, they used to operate in silos, that means separately. What this Sea Flows app is trying to do is, it's trying to get inputs from all these 3 agencies. So that is the specialty of Sea Flows app. It will try to estimate the floods potential in particular area by taking inputs from, not from one agency, but by 2 or 3 agencies combined together, like IMD, INCOIS and NCMRWF, right? So this is Sea Flows app, guys. Similarly, iFlows app was also brought. iFlows means Integrated Flood Warning System. iFlows, Integrated Flood Warning System. This was brought in the city of Mumbai. Sea Flows app was brought in the city of Chennai, right? Sea Flows app was brought in the city of Chennai, and iFlows app was brought in the city of Mumbai. This is also Ministry of Earth Sciences initiative, guys. iFlows also, and the same purpose, estimating the flood inundation, right? Estimation of flood inundation in a particular region. For that purpose, this iFlows app was brought. This iFlows app will predict flood situation 3 days in advance, right? Even 3 days of floods occurring, it will try to be prepared. It will give necessary inputs. And Mumbai is the second city after Chennai, right? So Sea Flows in Chennai is the first initiative, and second initiative is in the city of Mumbai. Now these 2 are important because urban floods are increasing, guys, year by year. Year by year, we are seeing this urban flooding phenomenon increasing. most of the metropolitan cities and overly populated cities, congested cities are facing the problem of flash floods and urban flooding. In that context, these two apps are very much important for us. So these are useful because they are estimating the flood scenario, right? They're trying to estimate the floods. Everything, how much rainfall will be there within 3 days, right? If necessary, any early warning systems. How is the tide levels in the coastal areas, right? If any storm surge is possible, all possible predictions, these will be making based on integrated data, not from one single organization, right? So this is about I flows and sea flows, guys. So fourth topic is Seabed 2030 project. Based on the inputs of all these three agencies, then it will predict the flood scenario in a particular area. Seabed 2030 project. This is related to ocean floor mapping, right? This is related to ocean floor mapping. Bathymetry, this is known as bathymetry, BATHYMETRY, right? Bathymetry. Bathymetry means mapping the ocean floor. Now, whose initiative is this mapping ocean floor project? Nippon Foundation of Japan. Nippon Foundation of Japan and an organization called GEBCO, GEBCO, GEBCO. These two together are trying to make a map of the entire ocean floor region, right? That is the objective of this Seabed 2030 project. Mapping or getting to know the entire surface of the ocean floor. That is the objective, and this is being taken up by Nippon Foundation of Japan and GEBCO, GEBCO. The full form is General Bathymetric Chart of Oceans, right? GEBCO, General Bathymetric Chart of Oceans, right? This is the only organization, only international organization to map the ocean floor, right? So this is important for us because with respect to prelims, this can be related to blue economy, right? Blue economy means sustainably using the ocean resources. Now, as the fuel and other resources on the land are getting used up, more and more pressure on the resources is being built up. Resources are getting more and more scarce. Now, ocean resources are one potential area where the country started exploring, right? So that is one area which is still in the exploration stage. So blue economy potential is there for the oceans. And Sustainable Development Goal 14 also says, what does it say? It's related to sustainable use of oceans, right? So with respect to blue economy and SDG 14, this topic is important for us, guys. So this is about Seabed 2030 project. Nippon Foundation of Japan and GEBCO, they are implementing this. Mapping the entire ocean floor by 2030 is the objective. Bathymetry, that is one term we have to know because they can randomly ask bathymetry is related to, right? So that's why bathymetry means mapping the ocean floor, and this is related to Sustainable Development Goal 14 and also blue economy, guys. And how is it useful? It's useful for understanding the ocean circular patterns, right? We might have studied in the geography the ocean currents, right? The different ocean currents, how they move in different parts of oceans. So understanding those ocean circulation patterns, marine life, marine ecosystem, how is the climate change impact on the ocean, and also for better disaster management also this project is useful because if we know Pacific Ring of Fire region is there, you might have studied it in geography, right? Frequently earthquakes and other tectonic disturbances take place in this Pacific Ring of Fire. So for better disaster management also this will be useful. For getting to know about marine ecosystem and ocean circulation patterns, how sustainably we have to use the ocean resources also we'll get to know, right? If any fragile regions are there, sensitive regions are there, we should not take up projects there, right? So all this we'll get to know only when we know about the ocean floor. right? So that is about Seabed 2030 project, right? In the similar ways, India also got permission from UNCLOS, UNCLOC, International Seabed Authority. There is an authority called International Seabed Authority under UNCLOS, which gave permission to India to explore a region. Find out what that region is, guys. Right? Exactly find out what that region is. Next scheme we are going to take up in environment is Nagarwan Scheme. Nagar, N-A-G-A-R, Nagar, V-A-N, one scheme. Right? So this was launched by MOEFCC, Ministry of Environment, Forests and Climate Change on June 5th. Right? So what's the speciality of June 5th? It's World Environment Day. Right? So such kind of important days we have to remember, guys. Right? So MOEFCC has launched this Nagarwan scheme on June 5th, right? Because it was World Environment Day. Right? So what is this Nagarwan scheme's objective? Its aim is to develop 200 Nagarwan across the country. Nagarwan means urban forests, right? Its objective is to develop 200 urban forests in the country in the coming 5 years. That's the overall objective of this Nagarwan scheme, right? So it plans to establish a minimum area of 20 hectares of forest region in the city, right? So 200 urban forests across the cities of country in 5 years, and in every city 20 hectares of forest region. That is the target of this Nagarwan scheme. Studied about CAMPA funds also. Compensatory afforestation funds, these are, right? So CAMPA funds are also being used for this Nagarwan scheme, right? And this Nagarwan scheme was inspired from already an urban forest that is existing in Pune. It's called Warje Urban Forest, right? Warje, W-A-R-J-E, Warje Urban Forest in Pune. This was the role model for setting up this scheme, right? So this is about Nagarwan scheme. Nagarwan scheme launched by MOEFCC on June 5th, World Environment Day. It aims to develop 200 urban forests across the country in the coming 5 years. Every city minimum 20 hectares of urban forest. Municipal corporation and municipality run the cities. Community participation is also there. NGOs and local communities are also participating. CAMPA funds are being used for this, compensatory afforestation funds, and Warje Urban Forest in Pune. That is the role model, right? So then the sixth topic we are going to take up for today, and the last topic for environment, is Environmental Performance Index. Environmental Performance Index. Now this index is important for us because India was ranked 168 out of 180 countries, right? India was ranked 168 out of the 180 countries as a part of this Environmental Performance Index. All the South Asian countries except Afghanistan are leading India, are in front of India in the rankings, right? All the countries, all the South Asian countries except Afghanistan are ahead of India. And these are some points, and this is published by Yale University. Yale, Y-A-L-E, Yale University, right? So these points are important because there is a similar index called Climate Change Performance Index, right? Now that is published by German Watch. Climate Change Performance Index is published by German Watch, and in the Climate Change Performance Index, India's rank improved. India is ranked among the top 10 countries, right? But in the Environmental Performance Index, India was ranked 168 out of 180. And this is published by Yale University. Almost all the South Asian countries except Afghanistan are ahead of India, right? So such contrast is there between Environmental Performance Index and Climate Change Performance Index, right? We should not get confused, right? Because this is published by a different organization, that is published by different organization. And rankings are also drastically different. There was a portal called Yukti 2.0 web portal. Yukti, Y-U-K-T-I. Yukti 2.0 web portal that was launched by Ministry of Human Resource and Development, right? The MHRD has launched Yukti 2.0 web portal. This was launched during the COVID time. That's why it's important for us. So what is the objective of this Yukti 2.0 web portal is, this is like an interface between MHRD and the higher educational institutions. Like this is like a online connection between MHRD and the higher education institutions. The MHRD, the Ministry of Human Resource and Development, will try to give all the technological and innovations that are required to higher educational institutions. Basically, for promoting startups in higher educational institutions, this portal was launched, right? So the full form of this Yukti scheme is Young India Combating COVID with Knowledge, Technology and Innovation. Yukti full form is Young India Combating COVID with Knowledge, Technology and Innovation, right? This is the full form of Yukti, and the objective is to give technological and innovative support to the higher education institutions, and also for promoting startups in the higher education institutions, guys. So it basically ensures incubated startups, that is the startups in the higher education institutions, they get adequate technology and innovation. That is the overall objective, right? So now 2.0, what is 2.0? 2.0 is nothing but extended version of Yukti portal. That's it. Nothing more special about Yukti 2.0. It's just an extended version of Yukti portal, right? So this is about Yukti portal launched by MHRD for promoting startups and giving technology and innovative solutions to the higher education institutions. Is like an interface between MHRD and the higher educational institutions, right? So this is about Yukti portal. Now the second thing which we are taking up is Khelo India scheme. Khelo India scheme. So this Khelo India scheme was launched by Ministry of Sports and Youth Affairs. It was launched by Ministry of Sports and Youth Affairs. And what for is this scheme? This scheme is for reviving the sports culture in India, right? For reviving the sports culture in India, and that too especially at the grassroots level. Grassroots level. Now this is important because the scheme is important because the scheme is trying to revive the sports culture at the grassroots level. One of the challenge for promoting sports in India is those in the rural background, those from poor background, they don't have the necessary infrastructure and the support to excel in sports and make sports as their career choice, right? Now that problem the government is trying to solve by implementing this Khelo India scheme, which tries to support sports culture at the grassroots level, right? So that is something special about this scheme. And also the other unique thing about this scheme is the scheme also tries to identify and promote local indigenous sports. Sports that are indigenous to India, right? Sports that are having origin in India and that are mostly played in India, right? Such kind of local indigenous sports are also being promoted under this Khelo India scheme. So making India as a great sporting nation is the overall objective of this Khelo India scheme. India should be made a great sporting nation. And under this Khelo India scheme, financial support is also provided to the sports people, right? Talented players are identified and 5 lakhs every year is given to those players for 8 years, right? So financial support is also being given to the players. Talented identified players are given 5 lakh per year for 8 years, right? So this is about Khelo India scheme. Ministry of Sports and Youth Affairs is implementing, reviving the sports culture in India, and that too at the grassroots level is the prime objective of this, making India as a great sporting nation. Also promoting indigenous sports is also a component under this, and 5 lakhs every year is being given to the talented people, right? Now the third, Gair Sain. This is a place in Uttarakhand, Gairsain, Gairsain, right? Gairsain, right? Gairsain. Now this is a place in Uttarakhand, Chamoli district. There is a district in Uttarakhand called Chamoli district. So in the Chamoli district of Uttarakhand, this Gairsain place is located. Now why is this important and why we have to read this for prelims? This was made the summer capital of Uttarakhand, right? This was made the summer capital of Uttarakhand. So that's why this is in the news. So it's better if we just know that this is there in Uttarakhand, then that is more than enough, guys. So it's made the summer capital of Uttarakhand, right? Governor gave his assent recently. So officially now Gairsain has become the summer capital of Uttarakhand. So that we have to know. And the other capital of Uttarakhand, we all know what it is, right? So this is about Gairsain. And the next topic we are taking up is PM Swanidhi. PM Swanidhi. So the scheme was launched recently as a part of Atmanirbhar Bharat, right? So under the part of Atmanirbhar Bharat, number of schemes are being launched. We have to be thorough with all those schemes as much as possible, because Atmanirbhar Bharat is the buzzword now. Everywhere we can see it, right? So that's why. Yeah, so PM Swanidhi is one topic which we are going to take up today. So this was launched by Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs, right? This was launched by Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs, right? And this is basically for street vendors, right? The scheme is for street vendors. The full form of Swanidhi is Street Vendors Atmanirbhar Nidhi, right? Street Vendors Atmanirbhar Nidhi. Nidhi means money. This is the full form of Swanidhi. So what is done under this PM Swanidhi scheme? Affordable loans are being given to the street vendors. Affordable loans are being given to the street vendors. Because of the lockdown, entire operations of the street vendors were closed. Street vendors. So that's why their livelihoods have become more uncertain now. So that's why the government has brought a specific scheme for street vendors called PM Swanidhi, right? So that those vendors can resume their work and earn their livelihoods. Now getting into the details of the scheme, 10,000 up to 10,000 rupees loans will be given to the street vendors under this scheme, right? Under the part of PM Swanidhi, 10,000 up to 10,000 rupees loans are given to the street vendors, right? And the street vendors have to pay them back in monthly installments within 1 year, right? That's how this scheme works, guys. So up to 10,000 rupees the loans are given, and within 1 year they have to give it back as EMIs, right? So this is about PM Swanidhi. And also SIDBI. There is an organization called SIDBI, SIDBI, right? Small Industries Development Bank of India. This SIDBI is also important for us because this has launched Swanidhi portal to administer the scheme, right? Swanidhi portal was launched to administer this PM Swanidhi scheme, and that portal was launched by SIDBI. So this is about PM Swanidhi. It was launched by Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs. Don't get confused that this is related to loans. So Ministry of Finance has implemented this. No, it's Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs, right? Because there can be an option saying PM Swanidhi. It's like affordable loans to street vendors, and it's being implemented by Ministry of Finance. That's very convincing, right? So Housing and Urban Affairs Ministries has launched this. Street Vendors Atmanirbhar Nidhi is the full form. Affordable loans to street vendors. Especially in the context of Corona, this scheme is very important. 10,000 rupees, up to 10,000 rupees loans will be given. Have to be repaid back within 1 year. And Swanidhi portal launched by SIDBI. Right? This is about PM Swanidhi. And the PMFME, right? PMFME scheme. PM, formalization of micro food processing industries. PMFME scheme. PM, formalization of micro food processing industries. Now this was launched by Ministry of Food Processing, right? Not by Ministry of Agriculture, but Ministry of Food Processing. We have a separate ministry called Ministry of Food Processing to deal with food processing, right? And similarly, we have a ministry for animal husbandry also now. For fisheries and animal husbandry also, separate ministry was created. Previously, it was under the Ministry of Agriculture only. Now we have a separate ministry, right? So that is important, guys. So it's launched by Ministry of Food Processing. And this PMFME scheme is also part of Atmanirbhar Bharat, right? As a part of Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan only, this PMFME scheme was also brought. And this scheme is basically for promoting or upgradation of MSME food sector, right? For upgradation of MSME food sector. How does it do the upgradation? By providing financial, technical and business support for the food sector MSMEs, not for all the MSMEs, only for food sector MSMEs, right? Because the name itself is Micro Food Processing Enterprises Scheme, right? For upgradation of food sector MSMEs, this scheme is being brought, right? And the approach in this scheme is one district, one product approach. One district, one product approach. Now this one district, one product approach was also mentioned in this year's budget also, right? Our finance minister has mentioned this one district, one product approach even in this year's budget. So it's very important for us. So what is this one district, one product approach? It implies the particular state governments will be picking up one product in every district for which it is famous or for which it can easily produce it or manufacture it in huge quantities, right? In similar way, every district, a product will be selected and MSMEs will be encouraged to manufacture only that product. In this way, what is the use? If we go by one district, one product, common infrastructure, with same infrastructure, many industries can operate, right? If one industry is producing some product X and if another industry is producing some product Y, in this way it is there, it's difficult to create common infrastructure. One of the main challenge for MSME sector is lack of money and lack of technology for upgrading, right? That's why they're not able to compete with the global value chains. That's why they're not able to compete with the fast moving and consumer good industries, right? Why? Because they can't afford to put that money or technology to upgrade them. Now, how we can solve this? By creating common infrastructure for all the MSMEs. How can we create common infrastructure? Only when all the MSMEs are producing the same product, right? Only then production process will be same for all, and only then common infrastructure can be there, right? So economies of scale, this term you might have come across, economies of scale. This will improve in India, right? And also with one district, one product approach, better branding and marketing also can be done. Better branding and marketing also can be done, right? So this is PMFME scheme, Prime Minister Formalization of Micro Food Processing Industries. That's the full form of this scheme. It's being implemented by Food Processing Ministry. It's a part of Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan. Upgradation of MSMEs by providing financial, technical and business support is the overall objective of this scheme. One district, one product approach. That is the approach of this scheme, right? Topic related to environment. So that is green energy corridor, right? Green energy corridor. Did we discuss this yesterday? No, right? Did we discuss this? No? Green energy corridor. Was this covered in yesterday's class? No, right? Yeah. So today we'll take up this green energy corridor, right? So this, actually I've come across a question some 2 days back regarding this green energy corridor, right? So the question said green energy corridor recently seen in the news related to it. There were 4 options. One of the option was to create road infrastructure in a green way or in a environmentally friendly way, and planting forests planting trees across the roads. So that option was very convincing for me, so I choose that, but unfortunately that was wrong. So green energy product is basically about synchronizing electricity produced from renewable sources with the conventional power stations, right? So this is basically about, see, power can be generated using coal, power can also be generated using wind, solar, and all these renewable energies, right? So now these two have to be integrated. That is being done by this green energy corridor, right? It is trying to synchronize the electricity produced from renewable sources with the conventional power stations. One of the major challenge for renewable sector is, what people say is, what investors also say is, the power which we develop from solar or wind energy, it's not continuous, it's not reliable, right? Grid stability is not there. If it's not sunny that day, solar energy generation will be varying, right? If it's not windy that day, then also renewable energy generation will be volatile. So these fluctuations will be there. Reliability, completely we can't rely on renewable energies, right? This is one of the challenge for renewable energy production. That's why what the government is trying to do, is trying to integrate this renewable energy with conventional power stations, right? However, 55 to 60% of the electricity we are generating by using coal. So from the renewables, we'll try to manufacture it and blend with the conventional power stations, right? In this way, the problem of reliability or the problem of continuous supply, all this can be solved. That's why this project was brought. It's called Green Energy Corridor, synchronizing electricity produced from renewable sources with the conventional power stations. Now, whose initiative is it? It's the initiative of Ministry of New and Renewable Energy, right? Ministry of New and Renewable Energy. And also intra-state and interstate energy transmission. Intra-state and interstate energy transmission infrastructure improvement is also there in this. Interstate and intrastate energy transmission infrastructure, that is also being improved, right? Because in India, we have some power rich states and power scarce states, right? For example, if we see some states like Andhra Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, Maharashtra, Madhya Pradesh, these are energy rich states, renewable energy rich states, right? There are 8 states in India which are called renewable rich states, right? They were very successful in generating renewable energy. They are Tamil Nadu, Rajasthan, Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh, Maharashtra, Gujarat, Himachal Pradesh and Madhya Pradesh, right? Tamil Nadu, Rajasthan, Karnataka, AP, Maharashtra, Gujarat, Himachal Pradesh and Madhya Pradesh. These 8 states are called renewable rich states, right? So one common thing which you can see is solar energy can be harnessed very well in these states. AP, we have the Deccan interior region, right? The Deccan interior region is completely used for this solar. Karnataka also, we have this drought prone areas, right, in Karnataka. That's why it's also leading. Rajasthan, we know it's completely a desert. Gujarat also, a lot of solar energy potential is there, and also wind energy potential is also there. In MP also, we have this Bundelkhand region, right? That is also completely can be used for solar energy. So in this way, 8 renewable rich states are there, right? So these interstate and intrastate infrastructure is being improved. That is the overall objective of this green energy corridor, right? This solves the issue of grid stability, reliability and power fluctuations. These problems won't be there, and renewable energy sector can be promoted, right? And there are some topics. For example, if we see today's paper, there is an article saying Pakistan has provided consular access to Kulbhushan Jadhav, right? Just find out what is this issue, because this is related to Vienna Convention. What is that Vienna Convention? Find about it. And also recently, International Court of Justice, ICJ, has given a judgment regarding this Kulbhushan Jadhav case, right? Just go through that also. Find about ICJ also, how many judges are there, for how many years the judges will be replaced. Is it a specialized agency of United Nations or not? Where is the headquarters of ICJ, right? And what is this Vienna Convention? How is it related to Kulbhushan Jadhav case? Just get to know all these guys. The second issue is Rajasthan politics. We see Rajasthan politics, a group of MLAs have gone to Supreme Court asking asking up to what extent the speaker's decisions are correct, right? So in this context, we have to know what is the anti-defection law, what powers are given to the speaker to disqualify someone, right? So what are the provisions of anti-defection law and what is the role of speaker in this anti-defection law? And is judiciary allowed to interfere in legislative matters? Up to what extent judiciary can interfere in anti-defection law? Is speaker's decision final or is it subjected to judicial review under this anti-defection law? That also we have to see. And can judiciary intervene only after speaker has taken decision or can it intervene before itself? Because if we see the Manipur case, their Supreme Court entered before itself, asking the speaker to disqualify the MLAs, right? So just see all these issues, try to analyze all these issues. And also travel air bubbles. India is starting travel air bubbles with US, France and Germany. Just get to know what are these travel air bubbles. Recently, Latha madam has also uploaded a video in our portal. You can go through that also regarding these air bubbles, right? And mercy petitions, right? Supreme Court has asked the government, because there was a petition in the Supreme Court about mercy petitions, that there should be time-bound mercy petitions, right? So now, in this context, you have to see who gives the clemency, right? The clemency powers of the president, clemency powers of the governor, pardoning powers of the president and governor. How are they different? What are the articles that are governing? Does president act on his own or he is bound by aid and advice of Council of Ministers regarding mercy petitions, right? All these we have to know. And custodial deaths in Tamil Nadu, that issue is also frequently recurring in the papers. So custodial deaths in Tamil Nadu, regarding that, how can it be related to Article 22, right? Prevention against arbitrary arrest, Article 22. And also police reform committees are there. Now this can relate to police reforms, right? So police reforms committees names we have to know. And an important judgment called Prakash Singh versus Union of India, that judgment we have to know. That is related to police reforms. So what is Prakash Singh judgment? What is Soli Sorabji committee? What is Malimoth committee? Right? All these committees you have to know. And there was also an article about 4G services in Jammu and Kashmir. Even now 4G services are not there in Jammu and Kashmir, right? Last year, August 5th, after Article 370 was revoked, internet services were terminated in Jammu and Kashmir. Later, 2G related internet connectivity was provided. However, 4G is not yet provided. So it's impacting some businesses and important operations in Kashmir. So there was a recent Supreme Court judgment also on this, regarding the extent of Section 144. About Section 144, and also Supreme Court said in that judgment that access to fundamental rights through internet is also a fundamental right, right? Supreme Court did not say access to internet is fundamental right, right? It did not say access to internet is fundamental right. It said accessing fundamental rights through internet is a fundamental right. For example, if you see freedom of speech and expression, you can express it in howsoever means, by written, by speaking, through movies, through books, through internet. So internet is one such media. So what Supreme Court said in that judgment is, if you are stopping internet, you are violating freedom of speech and expression, right? So that is important. And Kerala High Court said that right to internet is a fundamental right, right? And it's under Article 21. So go through that judgment also. So that Kerala High Court judgment is slightly different from our Supreme Court judgment. So just find out what the differences are. And Pench Tiger Reserve was also in news today. Yesterday, Melghat Reserve was in the news. I've asked you to see. It's basically in Maharashtra, right? A railway project is going through Melghat Tiger Reserve. That's where the Chief Minister of Maharashtra is requesting to suggest an alternative rail route. So this Melghat Tiger Reserve is in Maharashtra. Today, Pench Tiger Reserve was in the news. The Pench Tiger Reserve, specialty of this Tiger Reserve is this is shared by two states. two states share this Pench Tiger Reserve. Just find out what are those two states. And if we go to economics today, inflation was rising, right? On one side, we are seeing economic slowdown or economy slowly picking up, but inflation is rising on the other hand. So different indicators of inflation, as I have told you yesterday also, just go through them. And how is RBI repo rate related to inflation? How does RBI control inflation through repo rate? What is the role of monetary policy committee? Just think in these dimensions and try to study about them. Vande Bharat mission, that is also important, right? Vande Bharat mission, Operation Samudra Setu is there, right? Navy is sending some ships to bring back our Indians.